Anjna, sir.
Come in.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, please.
You have multiple places where you have been to. You did your schooling from Shimla.
Yes, sir.
Why Shimla? Are you from HP?
No, sir. My father is in the army, sir. So my father is posted in Shimla at that time.
Got it. Okay. And you are a Lady Shriram College product, psychology,
Yes.
2017. You stopped at BA only, or did you go for masters also?
So I done my master's from Delhi University.
Delhi University.
Yes, sir.
Psychology only.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that was in which year? 2019.
Yes, sir.
And last 4 years?
So 1921 I graduated from masters, and I've been preparing for UPSC. So this is my last attempt for UPSC.
This was last attempt for UPSC?
Yes, sir.
Last attempt would mean 6th attempt.
Yes, sir.
6th and last attempt. Okay. That's fine. And your base is in Dehradun?
So I wrote my examinations from Dehradun because my father was posted over there.
Where is your native place?
So it's Haryana. I'm born in Haryana.
Rohtak. You come from Rohtak?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's fine. So you didn't get the chance to spend many years in Haryana because of safety and all?
Yes, sir. I used to visit my grandparents frequently over there, sir.
Where you have stayed most? In which state? Where your time was spent more?
So I think so it's divided because usually posting comes around 1.5 to 2 years. So it's been a divided area.
All right. So you have done your psychology and you have kept psychology also as a subject also.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Now you studied at LSR. Who is this Lady Shriram? What do you know about her?
So she was the wife of Mr. Sriram. He had instituted 2 colleges, namely SRCC and LSR. He did not name the college on his wife's name, rather he just put Lady in front of it. Lady Sriram College.
All right. What was your experience at Delhi University in graduation and post-graduation as an educational institution? What were the pluses and minuses that you gained in the 4 or 5 years you stayed there?
So I think in the pluses is that it is a very diverse place. Students from across the India come over there. So I think so it's a mingling of culture and diversity. We come to know about various traditions, various cultures. And on the educational front, we get a lot of exposure through workshops. And the teachers are also very diverse and they're very helpful in the extent that they cater to our doubts and they'll help us in each and every way possible. And I think so LSR, especially on the extracurricular field, is excellent. It gives us a lot of opportunity, right from NSS to NCC, and we have a lot of societies also functioning in the college itself and in our department also. So
good for growth,
yes,
in one
sir,
word.
for our personality growth, absolutely, sir. So the cons, I feel that there's a lot of focus on attendance per se. And I think so, even if the student is not willing to attend maybe a lecture, maybe because the teacher is not very good, you have to compulsorily sit there for the sake of it. I think so putting marks on the attendance kind of, I'm not in favor of that.
Well, that was not my question at all, but you have given an answer without a question, that's fine. So attendance and all was not my question. My question is different. That have you gone through CUET?
No, sir.
But are you aware of the
Yes,
CUET?
sir.
The CUET is now the gateway to entry into DU and other colleges also. But there are opponents also of CUET. So you think it's a good exam system to enter into BA and MA, or there are flip sides also?
So right now I think it's a fair system because you have the level playing field given to every candidate irrespective of the board that the candidate is coming from. And you can choose from your colleges also. I think it gives an equal opportunity to every candidate. You have the material available online to study on your own. But the cons, I think so I would have to read upon it because I'm not well versed.
Fair enough.
You studied psychology and you have won a competition in Engage to Change. Huh? So what type of competition was it?
So we had to formulate a campaign. So we had formulated a campaign in the college. We had named it Because You Matter. It was an anti-suicide prevention campaign. We had conducted seminars by hosting various personalities, and we had conducted workshops also. So we were in charge of that campaign.
Okay. So, what are the problems which are encountered in any change? If you want to change a system or you want to change a process,
Yes,
so what type of problems crop up?
So first, I think is the resistance to change, because we are very much status quo. Second, I feel that maybe while we are changing, we may ignore the challenges which day-to-day person might face in encountering those changes.
Okay. So, what type of strategy, like the government is also wanting to change, to reform the system. So, what type of strategy is it following?
So the government is trying to change through behavioral change. For example, you have the life mission where we are able to change the behavior of people so that we can make individual contributions which can help us against climate change. So the government is not following a knee-jerk approach, rather it is taking a step-by-step approach and involving all the consultative.
So, what is this life mission?
So life mission aims to change the behavioral change of each individual so that we can make personal changes. For example, traveling by public transport or utilizing water in an efficient manner, switching off our electricity.
Okay, so has it been defined anywhere?
So in the mission statement, it
It
must be
is
defined,
mentioned.
but I'm not
You are not
right
aware.
now
Okay.
aware about it.
So from your discipline of psychology, what are the various personality assessment techniques which are used?
So you first of all have the projected tests for personality. Then you have behavioral tests also. You have written pen and paper tests also. In the projective test, you have a shark test. You have drawn person test.
Okay. So how do you view the assessment techniques adopted by the UPSC?
So UPSC does not have any formal psychological test being adopted over there. But we have a panel of members. I think it's a fair process to judge the candidate.
Okay. And would you say that what are the are any psychological principles employed in marketing of products?
Yes, sir. They're employed. We want to target a particular set of consumer. So we will target the ads based on their principle. And so I would have to revise. Not
Okay.
able to think of.
Okay. So what would you say that are any of these psychological issues, are they being employed in say marketing, what is now being called temple tourism?
So I think so in temple tourism, the religious angle or the religious sentiments of the people are being invoked. So I think so they're having the principles of psychology in the sense that you are involving people's emotions, which will promote tourism.
But targeting only a segment of that, is it in itself sufficient to drive the economy?
So in religious tourism, you would have to target a particular religion only. So I think so it will take some time to make the economy boost in that direction.
No, but what are the attendant factors? Just targeting a segment of the people, will it ensure viable outcomes? That will it drive the entire economic activity?
So at the same time, other sectors should also be pushed. Manufacturing and service, apart from the tourism sector that is there.
Okay. So what are the major reforms? Say, can you elaborate just 2 or 3 reforms which have been taken by the government?
So for tourism sector,
No, just in general,
the reforms
across the board.
all right,
Yeah.
across the board. So I think so Swachh Bharat Abhiyan is one such reform we are still pursuing. Then you would have the Beti Bachao Beti Padhao Abhiyan, which is still carrying on.
Okay. And what are the major sources of revenue for the government?
Major sources. So we have tax and non-tax revenue for the government, but I'm not able to recall the exact percentage figures.
Okay. And what is the foreign direct investment that is talked about?
So So FDI, should I explain what FDI is?
Jay, what does it mean?
So it means any foreign investor investing in India, FDI has a specified limit. For example, if you're investing in a company, more than 15% of the share should be bought by you. There's a particular limit for that.
Okay.
And it should be long-term and sustainable. That is also one of the criteria.
And what is portfolio investment?
So portfolio investment, FPI, is more volatile. It's called hot money, if I'm not wrong. And the technical details I would have to look into the thing, but one of the differences between FDI and FPI is the duration only.
Okay. And what to you would be the major evidence that the Indian economy is getting more formalized?
So I think so. GST, through GST, the Indian economy truly is getting more formalized. The tax revenue is also increasing through GST.
So is formalization a necessary condition for development?
So I feel the present scenario, yes, formalization in a way is necessary for development. For India to become a developed nation by 2047, I feel it is important.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Anjana,
Yes, sir.
you come from Haryana.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me about Yamuna River water dispute between Delhi and Haryana?
So I haven't read upon it. I would have to look into the technical details.
Okay, it's okay. Now we are from the field of psychology. What is a Stockholm syndrome?
So Stockholm syndrome is when you are, for example, kidnapped by someone else and you develop strong feelings, positive feelings towards the kidnapper itself, because you think the kidnapper is now your messiah. That is a Stockholm.
Why it happens so? Because it looks bizarre that something should happen. Someone is harming me and then I am sympathetic to him or rather influenced by him. What goes into mind?
So because you're in that situation where you're helpless, you're kept in a captivity, and the kidnapper is giving
Is it
you
adaptability?
So it is?
Adaptability to the
Yes.
situation?
Yes, sir, absolutely. It is one of the adaptability to the situation. It's kind of a survival mechanism also. Plus, the kidnapper might also give you food to eat, might also cater to one of your basic needs, might give you a TV serial to watch. So you kind of think that the kidnapper is not bad also. There's some good aspects to the kidnapper also.
In India, in villages, people live in poverty. Even then, suicide rate is very low there in comparison to affluent class. Why is it so?
So I think so suicide rate is not directly proportional to the income. There are a lot of other factors to it also. I think so the kind of family support you have, the kind of stressors you're faced with, and your coping mechanism also influences it.
Spirituality does help keep your sanity.
Yes, absolutely it does.
Mhm.
Should I explain how it helps?
Yes.
So I think so when you practice spirituality, you achieve a balance in your mind and body. And that balance is very important in the society. It helps us remain calm, think in a positive light, and turn our challenges into something positive.
It's okay, fair enough. Now tell me, what is the difference between a psychiatrist and a psychologist and a psychotherapist?
So the basic fundamental difference is a psychiatrist can issue medicines, whereas a psychologist and a psychotherapist cannot. While talking about a psychotherapist, that is a specific field of study where you will be dealing with various psychological therapies and administering it to your patients. Whereas a psychologist might have a diverse client, the psychologist might work in a school environment also, and a psychiatrist basically works more in a medical field or in a hospital setting.
Okay, so psychologists cannot provide any medicine.
No, sir, they cannot.
Okay. What do you understand by the term kinesics?
So,
Kinesics. Kinesics.
I haven't heard of this term. Sorry.
Psychology, body language. Have you heard about body language?
Yes, sir.
So what is that? It is
So-
kinesics.
All right. So the way you move and the way you sit and talk. Yes, sir.
Now, while watching a performance or a match, I clap. What does it mean?
So,
How do you interpret this?
so clapping either can mean that you're enjoying the match, or it can also mean that you're just following the social norm because everyone else is clapping, so you're also clapping.
And when we clap, one hand is small, remains steady, and then we do like this. What does it mean?
So,
This is the hand of the performer,
alright, sir.
and this is your hand. You want to meet,
Alright, sir.
you want to have anyway. Now, global warming is a major concern facing world these days.
Yes, sir.
And recently COP28 held in UAE. What are its takeaways?
So the global stock take, we realized that the world is not on its target to limit the climate change rise by 1.5 degrees Celsius, and a lot of other pledges were also made. And you have the fossil fuels reduction pledge also being taken, and we had the talk on the loss and damage fund also to be finalized.
Who was chairing the meeting?
So it was a UAE oil industry
Okay,
person,
it's
but I'm
okay,
not
it's
aware
okay.
of the name.
It's okay. Now take a hypothetical case. If the global temperature rises above 3 degrees centigrade, I mean above the pre-industrial level,
Yes, sir.
what will happen to the forests of India?
So I think so it will be a devastating thing. Forest fires might occur, the entire vegetation might be reduced into rubble, and I think so widespread climate changes in the sense increase in the frequency of thunderstorms or cyclones might also happen, which can destroy the entire ecosystem, might be in a destructive mode.
Okay. Indian economy is growing fastest now in the world. But it is not creating any job, the job which it should. Why so?
So I think so one of the reasons is because we progressed to the services sector very fast. We could not develop our manufacturing sector so fast. So now that's why we are pushing more and more into our manufacturing sector in order to create more jobs, because the service sector cannot accommodate all the aspirations of the people.
Okay. It's okay, sir. Want this up?
Yeah, your father has been in the armed forces.
Yes, sir.
So, what do you think? The armed forces have been treated well in India?
Yes, sir. Absolutely, they have been treated well in India.
And what do you think about the OROP?
So the OROP, one rank, one pension scheme. So I think so I would have to read a bit upon it. I haven't read into the technical details, but if I'm not wrong, the government has agreed to one rank, one pension to all the veterans, and I think so that is a positive step. Irrespective of the year you're retiring. So.
And what do you think about this policy of recruiting through Agnibeats? That's a decision the government took without pensions. And what is your view on that?
So I think it's a very progressive step for a 21st century India, because now we're going to train our soldiers to be more war ready. We're going to train them with the best equipment left, and we're going to bring a competitive spirit in them, because we are only going to select 25% of the rest 75%. So those 25% will be given pension, but those 75% who will be left by the defense forces, they will be tried to be incorporated in other state services and other areas of field, so that their expertise can be utilized by the nation as such.
Should there be a guarantee given to these people, 75%, that they will be absorbed in different kind of armed forces in the states?
So not a 100% guarantee, but the government is saying that we're going to try our level best that all of you are.
Do you think countries often engage in psychological warfare?
Yes.
And can you give some instance of it?
So Russia is known to engage in psychological warfare, especially through the misinformation campaign that they are spreading. So that is absolutely true.
What about China?
Yes, sir. China also.
And what about the three war theory of China?
Three.
The PLA, the army of China has come out with three theories of war.
All right, sir.
You may not have heard about that.
No, sir. I haven't.
Psychological warfare is part of that.
All right, sir. Interesting.
So how China's psychological warfare, pans out in terms of Taiwan.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Have you seen how China is putting psychological pressure on Taiwan?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. So I think so. They're constantly threatening Taiwan that you have to listen to us. They're constantly putting surveillance drones and balloons over them. So they are creating an atmosphere of fear in Taiwan, I feel.
Not only that, they are putting psychological pressure on other allies of Taiwan not to recognize China.
Yes, sir.
The latest is this Nauru
Now,
Pacific
yes, sir.
country which withdrew recognition to Taiwan and has gone to PRC.
Yes, sir.
As a student of psychology, sir is asking about psychological warfare, which is very, very pertinent. Please.
Yes, sir.
Have you heard of this term used of Nehruvian socialism?
Nehruvian socialism. Yes, sir. I've heard of the term.
And since then, how has Indian economic policy evolved over the last 70 years? How do you briefly describe it?
So I think so the major turning point was the 1991 balance of payment crisis, where we
What
had-
was Nehruvian socialism? What was the main tenets?
So the main tenets was that we are going to give equal opportunity to everyone, but at the same time we are going to have a state-controlled system of industries. Unfortunately, the industrial Raj was born in that era, where the private sector was not given a free hand to open industries. And the focus was on empowering the people within India, and the focus was on exports rather than imports. But
And-
I would have to read a bit more about the concept.
And how did it progress, you were saying?
So I'm not aware about the individual prime minister's theories, but I'm aware that when the 1991 balance of payment crisis occurred, India was open and we became an open economy after that. And right now we are more on a market economy basis, and socialism is there on our government policies, especially with regard to subsidies or direct benefit transfers. But on the industrial aspect, we are an open economy following the principles of capitalism.
So we are partly market economy, partly welfare economy,
Yes, sir, a mixed economy.
and Nehruvian socialism was also a mixed economy, isn't it?
Sir, I would have to read upon that. I'm not aware, sorry.
This is this. How do you look at the free electricity Delhi government is giving Punjab to the farmers? How does it square with the idea of reducing the carbon print? Isn't it something like carbon subsidization that's happening? Shouldn't it be discouraged?
So I think so whenever we give free electricity, the consumer thinks that it's their right to utilize as much as electricity they want. So obviously the climate burden does increase, the carbon burden does increase. I feel a minimum amount of electricity bill should be paid by the consumers so that they are more mindful of the consumption of electricity. Maybe we can waive the electricity bill for extremely small and marginal farmers, but definitely not for the big farmers.
Are you aware of the recent initiative by the government of India that cashless insurance everywhere? What is that? Or how is it a change from the earlier system?
So cashless insurance.
Cashless everywhere, that concept was used.
Yes, sure.
And they have started this process from this month.
So I'm not aware about the insurance aspect, but on the cashless front, the direct benefit transfer is there. Then you have the UPI scheme. You have every shopkeeper having an UPI account and going digital in that aspect. So I think so digital transformation in India has taken a great step.
What is the, how will you define plurality in India? By which categories if you were to describe India's plurality to a foreigner, how will you describe it? In which terms?
So I think so I'll involve all the terms because India is such a plural nation, right from our geography to our history to our society to the different castes, to the different community, the different languages, the different religions. I think so in all aspects, we are a plural society.
Recently, a couple of days ago, there was a new way of giving capital punishment, nitrogen gas execution, that happened in America in Alabama, and that has raised a bit of a controversy. What is it about?
So I'm not aware about the nitrogen-based controversy. I'm sorry.
Okay. India is the fifth largest economy, and we are saying in a few years will be the third largest economy. But India's per capita income is one of the lowest in the world, bottom 10%. How does this square? What does it say about the state of Indian economy?
So unfortunately, like you rightly mentioned, in India is unequal on that aspect. The Oxfam report also mentions that top 1% of India own more than 80% of the wealth of India. So that is an unfortunate reality. But the only way to deal with it is to increase labor-intensive jobs in India, to have daily payments, minimum wage payments ensured to the laborers, and to increase our manufacturing base so that the dividends of our growing economy is divided by everyone.
Okay. What about the recent news about Sweden entering NATO? What are the obstacles in that process?
Sir, if I'm not wrong, two major countries are posing an obstacle, that is Hungary and Turkey. They don't want the Sweden to come into NATO. But if I'm not wrong, now the Turkey is considering to approve their bid into the membership.
You are right only. Turkey
Turkey
has
has
agreed.
already approved
All right, sir.
and is going to. All right.
Okay, so your second choice is foreign service.
Yes, sir.
Are you interested in that?
Yes, sir.
Why?
So I think so representing India on a global scale gives a sense of pride and fulfillment which I'll be able to achieve, and interacting with various countries and the languages will give a different kind of fulfillment.
What do you understand by the term foreign economic policy, and what is India doing about that?
The foreign economic policy basically will include the various FTAs that the India is signing with other nations, will include strengthening our supply chain initiatives, and will include bringing in our entire Indian society connected with the global world, but not, and at the same time making India self-resilient also.
What are the current FTAs in the pipeline?
So one is with European Union, one is with Britain, and one is with Australia, if I'm not wrong.
Australia we have done, but we are further consolidating
Yes,
that.
sir.
Yeah. EFTA, have you heard about EFTA?
EFTA, sir. No, sir. Is it electronic?
No, it's an FTA with 4 countries of
Okay. All right.
Europe.
All right, sir. No, sir. European Union, wala, that is called
Yes,
EFTA.
European is different, this is different.
Oh, no,
Anyway,
sir,
you
I'm
don't
not
know.
aware. Sorry, sir.
Is India in favor of globalization, or our policies are also now towards deglobalization?
So India has always been in favor of responsible globalization, I feel. Even our self-reliant initiative, Atmanirbharta, is not anti-globalization. We want to be connected with the outer world, but at the same time, we also want to be resilient so that we are able to protect ourselves against any other outer shocks which may happen.
All right. You have so many hobbies and extra interests. Let me come to them. What did you do with the Indradhanush NGO?
So we used to teach underprivileged kids in a college. They used to come to a college premises, and we used to teach them the basic curriculum that their school was following.
And you won first position in competition Engage to Change by Name Hans.
Yes, sir.
What do you mean by Engage to Change?
So that was the name of the competition. We had to make a campaign which would aim to change something. So we had chosen suicide prevention as our theme. So we had formulated a campaign. We had called it Because You Matter in our college.
Okay. All right. So engagement is necessary for change.
I think it is one of the necessary steps.
All right. And again, you have participated in model event, inter-college level. What is a model event?
So it is a society sort of thing where a United Nations structure kind of is formulated. Various delegates are given different countries to represent, and we have various conferences on various topics. We have to speak our country's stand in that conference.
So in your participation, what all happened? What was the theme and how did you go about it? When was that?
So it was the last I participated was in my MA level. The theme was India-China. And the theme was, I was given India, but the theme was the general Indo-Pacific relations and what I had to represent India on that forum.
You represent India where?
So Indo-Pacific forum.
Indo-Pacific Forum.
Yes, sir.
How did you represent India in the Indo-Pacific Forum?
So I had prepared a detailed study, what India's stand is, what India should do, what are the challenges it faces, and what are the various other countries we are engaging in order to make Indo-Pacific a safe, resilient zone of communications and
What is Indo-Pacific area? How do you define the region? What is Indo-Pacific region?
so it includes both the Indian Ocean and the Pacific Ocean and all the countries.
In all of Pacific Ocean?
No, sir, sorry, sir, the entire Indian Ocean, but eastern.
From where it will start and where it will end in terms of start from east and west, which country is the starting point according to India in the Indo-Pacific region? How do we define it?
So we say that India is a central player in it, and it starts from the rim of Africa and it will go on till USA. The entire region is known as Indo-Pacific, but I'm not aware which country India considers first and last.
You are not specific about it. All right. Okay. So you represent India. What are India's interests in the Indo-Pacific region? How India can go about defending them?
So we want safe and secure lines of communication. We want trade to be open and free. We don't want the military to be present in the zone. We want it to be zone free of any hegemonic influences such as China.
For that, you need to have a very strong navy, and that's called blue water navy. Has India attained that status of a blue water navy?
So we call ourselves the first, the net security provider of the Indian Ocean, but I'm not aware if we also call.
What is a blue water navy?
So I'm not aware of that. I'm sorry.
Which is the strongest naval force in the world today?
So either USA or China. I'm not
It's
sure.
China.
Okay, sir.
All right. Thank you. We are over with your interview. We'll call you back.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
you, sir.
Anjna, sit on this.
Thank you, sir.
Now interview is over and let me just get a little informal with you.
Yes.
So, what were the reasons for not getting success in the last 5 attempts? Men's performance?
So prelims, I could not clear prelims in my last 5 attempts. So I think so.
5 attempts you did not clear
No,
prelims.
sir.
This time you have cleared prelims men's
Yes,
both.
sir.
Okay.
So I think in my first 2 years, I was over reliant on coaching institutes, and I did
Oh,
not.
that
form my-
has damaged your chances.
And
And I hope you are not over reliant on mock interviews also now. Let me warn you.
Yes, sir. I'm not. No.
I'm just
Yes.
signaling the warning. What did your father do? What is his rank in the army?
So he's Major General. He's right now.
I
posted
told him
Colonel.
that for this status he should be a major general.
Yes.
Well, see, to cut a long story short, you are a great candidate for interview and your background reflects what you have been through, college and family background. But the point is that you will score very well on your presentation of personality and projection of your traits and all that. But our job is to find the likely areas from where you will be asked questions.
Yes, sir.
All right. Definitely there will be questions because you have a mixed experience in Dehradun, Haryana and Shimla and all that. So
Yes.
any wayward question can be asked. So better be prepared.
Yes, sir.
Board doesn't listen to it कि देहरादून देख लिया तो नहीं पूछेंगे. देहरादून पे पूछ देंगे आपको. Wherever you can post and all that. Army, since your father is in a very high position and he is in NCC and all, is looking after. So obviously they will expect you to know about NCC and the job of NCC and all that. So be around your father also you should prepare, and that will take you to army Many reforms are going on. He asked about Agniveer, but now we are making integrated theatres,
War theatres.
theaterization of Indian Army. So many issues are there.
Yes, sir.
Indigenization of production, we have lots of production things going on, including latest is with French,
Yes, sir.
co-design, co-produce and co-develop. These are the three things that Macron did 2 days back.
Yes, sir.
So all this can be asked. When is your interview?
So not in the second phase, it will be in the last
Oh,
phase.
then you have lots of time to prepare. So army around you have to prepare
Yes,
all
sir.
this. This is third thing. Whether it's RP or whatever it is. They can sometimes even ask you the rankings in the army. How do you start with lieutenant and goes up to general and all that. Just off the cuff they can ask you.
Yes, sir.
Psychology of definitely they'll ask you questions.
Yes, sir.
Psychological warfare is a very good question to ask, but board has to be smart like me to ask that question.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes they are not, but prepare for that. Psychological. I'll give the example of China.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
that's better to. The latest psychological warfare is done by China only, and gave you Taiwan.
Yes, sir.
Psychology, various applications we have done masters in applied psychology, especially how can psychology put to use to cure the mental sickness in India, changing the attitudes of the youth.
Yes,
So all this you have to go through that because now lots of deviations are coming in youth behavior and this and that. How applied psychology can work and how it's working also. On that you have to be very, very prepared. Otherwise you are okay on any other issue, know something, you can do that. And don't worry if you do not know much about mixed economy and evidence and socialism. There are less likely questions to be asked because they will not be revolving around you. So even if you could not answer which I could see, then nothing to worry about that. All right. It's not that you should pick it up intensely and all that. That's all I have to say.
Since you come from Haryana, so I asked about Yamuna River
Yes, sir.
dispute and all, so you should
Yes, sir.
learn
I'm
about that.
still preparing.
About Parali burning and all pollutions, whatever these disputes are there,
Yes, sir.
they're annual phenomena. So that you should learn about it. And then about global warming, always
sir.
I say that you should read thoroughly. So that's a major challenge to humanity.
Yes, sir.
And about psychology, you are thorough. And India is being the most depressed country. So why is so and all those things that you know already. So nothing. Go ahead.
Thank
So where are you based presently at Dehradun?
No, sir, I'm in Jabalpur right now, Madhya Pradesh.
Okay.
Father is there.
Yes, he got transferred. He's now in Jabalpur.
Very good. You keep on moving around with your father. So
Yes, sir.
what is the problem?
And he asks you
So you go
about
back now to Jabalpur.
Yes, sir, on the 30th.
You go earliest. There is no need to be in Delhi for IAS preparation. You don't
Yes.
get anything. And let me tell you again that you have a good standing of your own. You don't need to learn too many inputs from mock interviews and all that. Let me tell you, because that will further
That will confuse you.
you a lot. You don't need too many inputs and all.
Yes, sir.
So just keep on reading from wherever you are, Jabalpur and all. Take up, do one thing in addition to what you are doing and all. Start reading. You read Times of India or not?
So my father reads it. He tells me some important things that read this, read that.
Leave father and you start reading yourself. Okay.
Because I'm already reading Hindu and Indian
No,
Express.
that's not good. You read Times of India yourself. Why father should read it and tell you?
Oh, yes.
Okay. You read and give your own perspective. Father will give his perspective, right? So you will start reading because the board members mostly they read Times of India.
Yes.
Hindu is only for IAS aspirants.
Yes.
Hardly anybody reads Hindu in the board.
Mhm.
So Times of India will be very good to read and all that.
Yes, sir.
Start reading Mint also for
Economics.
Mint for many very very good newspaper it is. Mint also you read.
Mhm.
2 newspapers you read in addition to Hindu. And read yourself and engage with the issue. What
down
question they
to earth also, down to earth.
For
For environmental issues.
Yes, sir.
What you do when you read the newspaper, don't read just the news what has come and all. What kind of questions can be asked? Whether they will ask the question, reflect on that. And then try to I'll answer like this, that's on this, something on IAS has come, something on brightest has come, something on this has come. तो पूछेंगे क्या उसको पहले रिहर्स करो अपने से. And then you do. And since your dad is himself there with you, you ask him to put questions like that and you just practice there. Every time you are not going to come to me.
Yes, sir.
Somebody should be there.
Yes, sir.
So ask him to ask 4 questions from this area and you answer it.
Yes, sir.
So that your practice is there. You do this practice at Liverpool.
Yes, sir.
Sir told you about down to earth.
Mm-hmm.
I'm suggesting one more journal that you should read, that is Frontline.
Mm-hmm.
Frontline you will start taking.
International
They talk about all world issues and social issues, environmental issues, they talk. It's a very comprehensive magazine.
Yes, sir.
So be regularly in touch with Frontline. Okay. It will work a lot for you if you do that. Beyond that, you don't have to read too much about the interview. It won't help you. Even if you read the entire library, it won't better your interview performance, let me tell you. It's just a conversation that happens here, it's very spontaneous and it will begin on a very natural note and then it will end on a natural note. So make it very natural.
Yes, sir.
That's all I have to say you or tell you. अगर आपके मन में कुछ है तो you can ask.
So one basic question when I enter, because there are 5 members sitting, how should I wish them? Should I wish them individually or?
Not at all. Chairman, you wish the chairman.
Okay.
That is understood that. And you can give a smiling look to others also. So if it's morning, say good morning to me,
Yes, sir.
centering your eye towards me, and give a smiling look to others so that they also convey the message that you have with them. If there is a lady member, then you have to say ma'am.
Okay.
Because to me you will say sir, good morning sir. But you will have to say good morning ma'am. If there is no lady member, all are male members, one is enough. Let me tell you one thing, these courtesies are not at all important in UPSC. Nobody cares what you do.
Okay, sir.
It's not like a very public sector interview or a private sector interview, like management interview. No, it's not like that. They will not go for all the outwardly things too much, unless you are terrible.
Yes.
You don't know how to come, how to reach, how to sit, how to talk. So don't prepare too much on these mannerisms and all that. Basic mannerisms you already have.
Yes.
You don't need to perfect it. So
Alright.
that should not be given much attention at all. These are very, very, I think, redundant things at the IAS interview.
Alright, sir.
Engagement is what will matter.
Yes.
You should be able to impress that yes, this is a good candidate. Okay.
And sir, while reading, for example, the Haryana issue, the Chandigarh issue, should I take the government stand or the Supreme Court stand?
No, there is no need to see. You have to take a balanced stand, even if it goes against Supreme Court or goes against government, you can take that also. You're not supposed to blindly support the government. There are many things the government doesn't do correctly. So you have the right to do that. But don't be an extremist, right? You know, like many people will say Ram Mandir Bangya is total religion and BJP is playing with fire. That is the extremist opposition. That you are not supposed to do. You understand that? A fair criticism of the government, fair criticism of the UPSC, fair criticism of Supreme Court, everything is allowed.
And so when I give an opinion, for example, some other member is giving another opinion, can I agree with that opinion or should I only stick to my opinion?
No, if you have better is to stick to your opinion. You can't change your opinion just because the member is asking you. It's better to defend your opinion rather than surrendering your opinion and tell, okay, sir, you are right and I am wrong.
Okay, sir.
You'll have to.
If there is an objective basis to it, because no one will expect your personal opinion on this issue,
Yes.
on a
It don't sound offensive.
policy issue.
Yes, politely. is,
Obviously, offensive to me, but then it's better to stick to your own opinion rather than surrender.
Find some new argument in somebody's opinion which possibly buttresses.
You can, yeah. What he's saying is that if I give some additional opinion or something more, then you can say that sir, this is an additional input to me in what I think and all that. But still, I think
Acknowledge that.
I acknowledge. You just acknowledge that. Okay.
Yes, sir.
You can never say that yes, your opinion is correct and mine was wrong.
Yes, sir.
That's not a good personality trait.
You need to say it in a way that the member also feels satisfied and your personal stand also remains vindicated.
Yes, sir.
That is it. So,
Third question.
it's all a process of balancing.
Yes.
The whole thing is the interview is balancing. You have to do the balancing.
And so were my answers a bit long or
No,
should I-
it's very well.
Very well balanced. You don't need to work on that.
Alright, sir.
If it was so, I would have told you.
Alright.
I did not find anything to rectify during the interview, otherwise it would not have escaped my attention.
Alright, sir.
Okay. I would have told you that.
I'm sure this is the first time you're facing interview and
Yes.
I'm sure you'll make it. Maybe it's the last time. You'll make it.
And so what is the difference between the person who gets 180 marks compared to a person who gets 200? How to bridge that gap?
Some are more lucky, some are less lucky.
Yeah,
That's
that's
the real difference. Because many of my students are about 210, many of my students are 170 of the same level and all that. Nothing can be done about that.
Alright.
Just don't go there to seek 200 marks. That will be a very wrong assumption.
Mm-hmm.
Don't keep this in mind at all.
Alright.
Go there to give a good performance and don't think if I do this I'll get 200, if I do this I'll get 130. That's a very, very wrong thing to do.
Alright.
Don't keep that in mind at all. It will happen on its own.
Alright.
But interview mein, let me tell you that you are the material who can get 190 plus marks. Rest assured.
Alright.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. And sir, should I smile more often? ऐसा कुछ है या should I just be my natural?
Yeah, you are not smiling at all.
I was not
in the
smiling.
interview. Now you are smiling, but
This
you
is
have a stern face.
You
I
are-
think there should be a bit of smile on your face.
I was just
You require to put a bit of smile. You
Yeah.
bit of smile.
Absolutely.
But it should be effortless, be
Yes.
yourself.
Yes, sir.
That you need to practice somewhat, so that comes out and you're very, very stern in your
Yes.
answers.
Yes,
That's
sir.
something which is.
It's better to be smiling to some extent, but then don't be conscious about it.
Mm-hmm.
But be a little, that looks, everybody welcomes a charming personality and all.
Yes, sir.
Agreeable and all.
Yes, sir.
You are looking very serious all through the interview. Don't
Yes.
take it too seriously. After it's a conversation only, engagement with the board for half an hour. And let me tell you and assure you that the board will not be more knowledgeable than you. Maybe you know more than the board. It's not always that. Board is more experienced. So don't think that you are sitting in front of so many people and you will not know something. Go with the confidence there.
Yes, sir.
They'll ask you some general question. They won't ask you something कि आप कोई ऐसा चीज बताओ जो आप जानते ही नहीं उसके बारे में. They won't.
And
Very
you
super
know,
person.
you will acknowledge it very.
Yes, sir.
It's not the knowledge test, it's the personality test. So how we approach the question, that matters.
Yes.
You be in touch with me. I don't give my number to because it's your last attempt. I would like to see that I can support you wherever you feel stuck and all. Write down my number
Yes.
and contact me sometime if you need.
Thank you, sir.
I want to see that you are there in the IAS this time.
Thank you so much, sir.
9811
9811
787
787
190.
190.
Yeah. Take time on my WhatsApp, and if I give you time, then on that time you can just raise your queries.
Alright, sir. So I think so once my interview date will be because right now तो थोड़ा time है. Once I need to perfect on a lot of.
You read up all things and then
Yeah.
come back to me.
Yes, sir.
Then I'll tell you.
So,
If anything comes to my mind, I'll just tell you read this and read that also.
yes, sir. So 9811 787 190.
That's right.
Thank you so much, sir.
You can trouble me.
Yes. Thank you.
It's the last chance.
Yeah, I should support you. Of course.
Thank you.
Okay.
हो जाएगा. मैं अच्छा किया होगा तो हो जाएगा. बल्ले बल्ले करो हरियाणा के स्टाइल में जाओ. Be happy, be cheerful, be very very optimistic. This will work a long way.
Yes.
And
All the best.
Don't overwork for the interview. Take it cool.
Yes, sir.
Best way to remain normal and natural.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon.
And I'm warning you, don't need too many mock interviews.
ਹਾਂਜੀ.
There is a danger of getting wrong kinds of feedbacks and all
Yes,
that.
sir.
And don't read कि टॉपर ने क्या क्या इंटरव्यू में क्या पूछा गया, कोई उसका क्या स्क्रिप्ट पढ़ता है, क्या पढ़ता है, you become nervous. Don't do all this. This is nonsense.
ਹਾਂਜੀ, yes, sir.
Go with a blank mind. Don't read कि उसने स्क्रिप्ट में ये बताया, ये पूछ. It will all deviate you and nothing else.
Yes, sir.
Okay, don't do all this. No, not required at all.
ਹਾਂਜੀ.
Create your own script
हाँ.
so that it comes out in the paper next time.
Yes.
In interview, you can't follow anybody. You can't even follow anybody.
Yes, sir.
It is your own path. Okay.
Yes, sir.
No.
Thank you, sir.
Good luck.
Sir.
UPSC is a very